We ain't got no guys. I went from going to school to making moves. I said I would win, hey, said I would lose. Shit, with some bazoos, knowing that I need them, I'm spending money on
How's it going, guys? So today we're going to do a quick video on the bench press and specifically how to arch and how to do the setup that I do. Going to go through anything from setup, common mistakes people do, bar path, the whole shebang. So the first thing I tend to do when I'm benching is mobilize a little bit. Mobilizing for bench for me is mainly through my thoracic region, so through my upper back, through my lats, through my chest, and get that whole area loosened out, especially if you're deadlifting heavy. If you're not a bench only lifter, loosening that up creates nice mobility through that upper back, so you can really get that shape that I tend to get a lot of and advocate, especially if you're looking to decrease your range of motion. Things I tend to do mainly first is just do an easy lat roll, chest roll, easy enough, same thing. Just try and get rid of any little knot. Threading the eye of the needle, that helps a lot, getting that thoracic and upper back limber. And also literally just lying over a roller with a PVC pipe in my hand and just going forwards and backwards. That tends to do quite a lot for me. Just open up that thoracic region here, that if you can't get that upper back mobile, then you've got an issue. That upper back mobility is the key of a good arched bench. Because if you can't get that upper back mobile and you can't get this position here really upright and everything comes lordotic and through your lower back, then you're not going to get any arch. It might look pretty on Instagram, but it's not going to get you any sort of less range of motion. You're not going to get into a position where you're going to activate your lats more. You're just going to get a curve in your lower back. That doesn't do anything. So next thing we're going to do is go into the setup, but first part of the setup, the important part, is hand position. For what we're saying today, maximum grip is what we're going to talk about. So your max grip, IPF says ring needs to be covered, right? There's ways of getting around that, so it doesn't mean that your hand needs to be fully over the ring and covering the ring. It just needs to mean the center ref doesn't see it. That is a trick to do, and it's what I tend to do, is I put the webbing on rather than my finger. I'm using my webbing to push over the hand and then pull my fingers inwards. What you'll see is as I get into position, you'll actually see, you can sort of see the ring a little bit, but only in a little bit as I get into my arch. Once you're into position, as you see when you bench, that center ref is too far away to see the ring. Like, you're never going to see the ring unless the center ref is centimeters up really close. You're never going to see it. So it's really important that you get it right. You know, you're pushing it on the edge, you're pushing it to the limit. If you do it right, realistically your arm angle and your wrist angle, you're outside the ring. You've gained another finger. So doing it that way means that you get that extra ½ an inch. I will say that, like, if you're a close grip bencher, don't just go really wide. Just don't go and try and go for that position. What we're talking about here is we're looking to maximize your levers and get the shortest distance possible with the biggest arch, right? Two options: you either go wide grip and you really keep an eye on your shoulder stability and really work on hitting that shoulder health, or you just take it finger at a time. So if you're close grip, bring a hand out. 6 weeks time, bring a hand out, and keep coming wider unless it causes issues. That's the best way you're going to achieve the biggest potential of your bench. From the hand position, the setup is the next really important part, and each part of the setup, there's 3 different bits really that I would say to focus on. You've got your upper back position and how far up your upper back you're going to get. You've got your glutes and your bum with your feet and how they screw in, and then you've got your chest high and the bar path. Like those 3 together, think of those 3, get them all right, and usually the lift goes pretty well. First things first is upper back position. Like how you get into your position. You'll see that I tend to a lot like getting onto my forehead when I bench. You might have seen that before. But the reason I do that is because I get more of an angle on my upper back. So if you have a look at it, straight when I come up from here now, I really can get a really acute angle down, and as I come down, I'm really up on my shoulder blades. From that point, I've got more of my lat below the point of contact. Because there's more lat below the point of contact, essentially more lat can contract and more lat can activate, so I can really get more muscles being used. Essentially that's everything I do in my bench press. I'm trying to use more muscle groups. The more muscle groups I use, the more I can bench press. As I drop down, I'm really dropping down slow. So as I drop my feet down, I'm really taking my time on how I drop my feet. This was something I've started doing probably the last like 18 months or so, and it makes a big difference because it keeps my whole lower body tighter, stops me from, I think sometimes you get a little bit too hyped and it sort of throw your feet down, and you end up losing like 1, 2, 3 inches range of motion. The more specific you are with your, dropping your feet, taking your time, squeezing the bar, the less you're going to lose in your setup. So once my feet are down, I'm bringing my heels together, squeezing my knees out, and then from that point I'm in a real solid lower body position. So if you look at my lower body now, it's properly turned on. Quads, glutes, everything's in position. That's one of the mistakes that I see a lot of guys doing, is as they come up, looks like they're going to get a really good shape, right on their traps, and then as they drop their feet down, super sloppy, and with that sloppiness comes losing range of motion, right? So as you're getting into your position and you're arching up, you really want to be focusing on, as you bring in your feet down, slow, take your time, then really drill out. So push your knees out, heels together, and that squeeze of the bum together with your heels together and your knees out is the important part. And what that's going to do is it's going to stop your bum from coming off the bench. So that's what, again, people do, is they think they're getting in a good position, but then as they're pressing, their bum comes up. If your bum comes up as you're pressing, it just shows that you're not really getting enough lower body engagement through your quads, through your glutes. One little tip with it is you really need to make sure that that whole foot is on the floor. If you try and push your knees out and your heels are together and you've got tight hips, you're gonna end up laterally moving and your foot will end up being here. If your foot is up, obviously you're not gonna get the start command, right? So if that's the case, then don't turn your heels together as much. If you're getting a foot movement up, it needs to be a trade-off between what you can do so you're gonna get a start call and not what you think you can do that makes your arch better. Because if your arch is perfect but you don't get the start command because your foot is raised, then there's no point. What I need to do from here now is obviously push the bar in the right direction, right? So the important part now is that I get my arm angle right. What they tend to do themselves is get into a position where once the bar's on the chest, they lose that chest height and they do this. Your arm angle now, that bar is pushing away from you. Good chest. Bad chest. That drop is sending my arm angle, so it means that when I'm pushing, naturally I'm going to want to push away and towards the wall there. Pretty much most people know that's a bad thing. You don't want to be pushing away from the rack, you want to be pushing towards the rack, right? So thinking about the chest high, if you've got your arch and everything in position, that high chest is going to mean that my arm angle, my wrist to my elbow, is either completely straight or it's on an angle backwards towards the rack. You do not want it to be this way. Not only does that mean you're pushing in the wrong direction, but also you probably more than likely end up rounding your shoulders forwards and not getting that scap retraction and that upper back. You should always be looking to get them shoulder blades realistically back and pinched rather than forwards, right? But that's sort of benching 101. Realistically, it becomes more and more important, not only just for that squeeze and that upper back tightness and, you know, getting that shoulder joint in the right position, but also for the arm angle and which way you're pressing. That's a summary of the bench press in a nutshell. There are a few things that I didn't mention there that I would probably class as some of my favourite cues, and those would be squeezing down with your little finger. So as the bar comes out, really squeeze with your little finger as much as you can. A lot of coaches say, you know, spread the bar or pull the bar apart. I like to use this as a cue because it does the same thing, but I just have a bit more carryover, bit of a simple mind. And also a really easy, simple one again is obviously chest to the bar. So I use this a lot with lifters who are very much starting the arch process and doing a lot of like double pause work. So you pause just an inch off the chest, and then all you're thinking from that inch is bang, chest up, rather than getting the bar to drag down. And that helps with obviously lat activation and keeping that scap retraction, but obviously as well it keeps that bar position pointing back towards the rack, like we were saying earlier, rather than forwards, right, away from you. So they're simple and they're really easy cues. There's probably quite a lot of people who use already, but if you don't use them, I would definitely say try and give them a go, because you know, you don't have to try and reinvent the wheel. It's just trying to make consistency. I have no idea how to end a YouTube video. Hope you enjoyed it. No, that's not right. Thanks for watching anyway. I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions you have, anything? Hope you enjoyed this video anyway. Any questions you have, you know, comment below, subscribe, like, all that sort of stuff. And if there's anything you want me to cover, anything extra on bench or anything else, write in the comments and I'll see if I can get around to it. Hope you enjoyed it. Peace.